A heartbroken dog visits his owner's grave every day, but he doesn't make the trip alone. Every day, this lonely dog would go to his owner's grave and lay down next to it, refusing to leave for days. The owner was deeply grieved by the loss of her dog and couldn't bear the thought of him being alone. She had no idea that her dog was visiting her grave until she saw him through the window. The woman was so touched by her dog's loyalty that she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and love for him, despite her own grief. She knew that she needed to move on for the sake of her dog. So she started visiting the dog at the cemetery every day, bringing him food and water. She also began taking him on long walks and playing with him in the park. But no matter how much time she spent with the dog, he still seemed sad and lonely. One day, a man who had been watching the dog from afar finally worked up the courage to approach him. He had seen the dog at the cemetery and was touched by his story. The man introduced himself to the dog and slowly began to build a relationship with him. He took the dog for walks, played with him, and gave him all the love and attention he needed. Still, the dog never forgot his owner and would often be seen sitting by her grave. The man who had befriended the dog decided to take matters into his own hands. He wanted to give the dog the love and care he deserved, so he adopted him. The dog was hesitant at first, but the man's kindness and patience eventually won him over. They became the best of friends, and the dog's life took a turn for the better. Every morning when the man woke up, he would take the dog for a long walk. They would explore the neighborhood together, meeting new people and other dogs. The dog loved going on adventures with his new owner. They would go to the park where the dog could run and play to his heart's content. The man would sit on a nearby bench, watching the dog play and feeling happy that he had saved him from a life of loneliness. As the weeks went by, the dog began to thrive under the man's care. He was no longer the sad, lonely dog that had been seen at the cemetery. Instead, he was full of energy and life. The man had given him a second chance at happiness, and the dog was grateful for it. But every evening when the sun began to set, the dog would become restless. He would pace around the house, whining and scratching at the door. The man knew that the dog was wanting to go to his owner's grave, so he would take him there. They would sit by the grave for a while, and the man would tell the dog stories about his old owner. He wanted the dog to know that he wasn't abandoned and that he was loved. One day, the man brought a shovel with him to the cemetery. He had an idea that he had been wanting to do for some time. He dug up the area around the grave and, with the help of the dog, made it into a small park. He planted flowers and trees and even put up a statue of the dog's owner. It was a beautiful tribute to the woman and a fitting final resting place for her. The dog was overjoyed with the park. He would spend hours running around, playing and exploring. It was the perfect place for him to honor his owner and remember all the happy times they had shared together. From that day on, the man and the dog became regulars at the park. They would spend their days playing and their evenings remembering the dog's owner. The man was grateful for the bond he had formed with the dog and knew that he had made the right decision by adopting him. The dog was no longer the heartbroken stray that had been seen at the cemetery. Instead, he was a happy, healthy dog who knew he was loved.